as a teacher. I'm kind, I'm compassionate, I'm very animated. I genuinely care about each and every student in my classroom. I wake up every morning honestly so excited to go to work, and that's a really special thing. I've always been really passionate about reaching those kids in the classroom that do need that extra push. Prior to attending PDP at SFU, I actually worked for a year with children with both behavioral and educational IEPs. And in my placement classroom alone, I had students with hearing disabilities, physical disabilities. I had 2 students requiring English learning support and about 8 students who received additional learning support both in and outside of the classroom. I think probably one of the biggest influences I've had in my life, however, when working with children with disabilities is actually growing up with a brother who had a severe disability. I think I thought I knew a lot when going into the program about working with children with disabilities, but I actually learned so much throughout my program experience and my practicum experience. I remember we read a book earlier on in the program called The Short Bus by Jonathan Mooney, and it's about a man who travels across America, and he himself was diagnosed with a severe learning disability, and so he travels and finds others who were also diagnosed with disabilities, and they discuss their stories and they share their experiences, but they do so with a sense of humor and imagination and resilience, and that's really inspiring when working with children with disabilities. We read another book called The Inclusive Classroom, and this book is just full of ideas and suggestions when working with all sorts of children with disabilities and designations. And I think the part I found the most helpful in my classroom experience was the part on attention and memory, because I did have those students that really displayed that sort of lack of retention in daily routine activities. And I think that the book actually really helped. In my placement classroom, I actually worked with a student who had a severe hearing disability, and he sort of relied primarily on ASL and signing to communicate. And I had never worked with a deaf student before, so I was a little bit nervous about going into that situation, but I actually checked out the Ministry of Education's website, and they have so many resources and contacts available that were really beneficial. And one of them that was really helpful was a section of the site called How to Work with an Educational Interpreter. And I found that really helpful in the classroom, as I had never worked with one before, and I think it was beneficial to everyone in that situation. I've been very fortunate to have several experiences during my practicum that have really helped me to work with students with all sorts of exceptionalities. I'm working on my ASL so I can communicate with my deaf student. I've implemented fidgets in the classroom for those who struggle with sitting still and with focusing. I've tried sectioning off our carpet into 3 different sections, so sitting, kneeling, and standing, and that provides a bit of freedom and a bit of choice for those who do have trouble sitting still for extended periods of time. I think the biggest lesson with all of this is really teaching the kids self-regulation and providing them with some freedom and some choice in how they behave and participate in the classroom environment. I think one attribute I have that really does add to my ability to work with children with exceptionalities is the way that I really do strive to collaborate with others in the educational community that might be working with that particular child. In my placement classroom alone, I've worked with language teachers, educational aides, an educational interpreter, speech and language pathologists, and many others. And I really do recognize that each of these individuals has years of professional experience, and therefore their comments and their feedback is really appreciated. I'd even say that working with these individuals is crucial to improving my own teaching strategies and working with children with disabilities. Assessment is huge. It's so rewarding to see a particular student progress as you work with them and know that you had an influence on their development. Assessment is also crucial for myself as the educator, because then I can assess my own teaching and learning strategies and find out what's working and what's not working, and really build upon what seems to be encouraging the most success for that particular student. Observation and feedback are also crucial. There are so many individuals and resources available to us now that I think it's really important that we as educators acknowledge that and we take advantage of that support, both for our own improvement and of course for that of the student. I've learned so much from all the students in my placement classroom. I think in particular when talking about the students with exceptionalities, I've learned patience, I've learned acceptance, and I think I've just genuinely learned to appreciate and enjoy life.